I, Ahmad Zakir bin Ahmad Asnan, number matric B142410021, and today I'm going to do an interview with two engineers from DOSH to interview about OSHA, so called Occupational Safety, Health, and Environment. So the first question, what is your position in your profession?
I'm currently working with the Department of Occupational Safety and Health, Selangor, the agency under Ministry of Human Resource Malaysia. Bang, semula bang. Mula.
Kenapa?
Nanti. Ada apa aku ni? Mama baca je lah tag. Dan nak olok-olok. Okay, semula.
Mau baca je.
Okay, jap.
Okay, we start with
Okay.
Okay. We start with the first question. What is your position in your profession?
I'm working with the Department of Occupational Safety and Health, or DOSH, Selangor State, under Ministry of Human Resources, Malaysia. Our department is an enforcement agency regards to Occupational Safety and Health Act 1994 and regulations under. Currently, my position is Assistant Section Head, Analysis and Processing Section, which is the section responsible for analyzing the data of OSHE information, such as accidents and occupational disease, which has been reported by industry. My section also do inspection for machineries installations as stipulated in the regulations, to ensure the machineries installed in safe condition before it will be used by the industry.
Okay, understand. And for the second question, based on your experience as an engineer, what kind of incident happened and what your action for it?
Actually, for your informations, I'm working with so-called low-risk industries, which is public services. As far as I'm concerned, I didn't have any experience for any incident happen. However, as an enforcement officer in DOSH, I have an experience investigating fatality accident happen at construction site. What we as an investigator look into is the risk assessment for their work activities, mainly for high-risk activities. For instance, like working at height or working with hazardous chemicals, and etc. And then the important thing here is hazard identification, risk assessment, and risk control, or usually we call it HIRAC, must be established to ensure work activities are done in safety manners. In addition, adequate control can prevent the incidents from happen.
Okay, thank you. For the third question, when professional engineering services are rendered on a single project and payment is received from several sources, how do you handle situation when conflicts of interest can happen?
A conflict of interest, as we understand, arises when personal, financial, or other interests could compromise in decision making. If the conflicts of interest tend to happen, in my opinion, transparency is the best policy. However, organizations have to establish policies for handling conflict of interest, and the best is to follow what the policy made. Personally, if I involve with the decision making and have conflict of interest, I choose to avoid participation if possible, and I try to remove myself from decision making or situations where the conflict could influence my action. If not able to avoid, seeking guidance is an option for me. consult with my superior and legal advisor, and I believe they can help assess the situation and recommend appropriate actions.
Okay. Next, to the next question. As a professional engineer, how do you ensure that the construction or installation is in accordance with the engineering design and specification? Can you give an example of how the action to manage the supervision of a project to ensure its successful completion?
Okay. For this one, actually, I'm not directly work with the constructions or installation, but as an enforcement officer for occupational safety and health, I mean, for DOSH, we actually, as I told earlier, we are not really involved directly with construction or installation of building, but we do enforce the safe installation of machineries as stipulated under OSHE for plant requiring Certificate of Fitness Regulations 2024. For lifting machines like tower crane, lift, escalator, good hoist, boilers, and also pressure vessel. The installation of these machineries required design approval from our department. So to ensure the machineries installed accordance to approved design, inspection will be conducted by us for the condition of the machine, for the functionality of the machine, and also for the safety devices testing. So actually I talk about the side for the enforcement officer, not for the professional engineer in construction field.
Okay. And for the fifth question, as an engineer, what work experience have you gained during your tenure until now?
Um, as an engineer in DOSH, we do involve in technical knowledge as well as safety knowledge. For your information, we work with the law as an enforcement agency. We enforce OSHA 1994 in all industrial sector except armed forces and machine ship ordinance. So these two not fall under our law. And we managed to know workplaces, activities, and safety practices by these industries. We also exposed to many type of machineries for their design and installation, mainly for the safety practices and the advanced technology for this machinery to ensure their safety while being using by the industry. We also got to have a good relationship with the industry personnel. And then the best part for being engineer in DOSH is we actually can go to any places which not many people have the opportunities to go to that places. Some very confidential, only allowable for DOSH officer to get the knowledge and also uh, to see the workplace.
Okay, okay, madam. So, to the next question, the offense of sexual harassment occurs between you college. As an engineer, which party do you think can overcome this problem?
Okay. The issue of sexual harassment involving employer, and I call here is victim, which is the employee, and also the offender, which is the employee also in an organizations, is actually happen quite frequent, but as far as I'm concerned, in my department, I haven't heard any until now. But I believe as an engineer or as a superior for my team, um, all parties have their roles to overcome drop this problem. I put it in three categories, which I mentioned earlier, which is the employer, the victims, which is the employee, and also the offender, which is also the employee. Okay, the employer. Employer must formulate policies for sexual harassment. The policy must be accessible and understand by employees. Okay, the policy must have the reporting mechanism and consequences for the violations. Employer can promote respect, equality, and inclusivity in the workplace. Employee also need to take employer also need to take immediate action for any sexual harassment reported to them. And for the victim, he or she must understand what caused the sexual harassment, including verbal, physical, and also non-verbal behaviors. Clearly communicate when behavior is unwelcome or inappropriate, and don't be shy or keep for themselves. Lodge a complaint by following the organization's reporting process. And then they also can talk to trusted colleagues, friends, or mentors about their experience. They really need colleagues to support and comfort them. And then lastly, for the offender, definitely need to impose strong penalty referring to the policy made by the employer. For example, termination of employment, salary reductions, and isolate in cold storage place. I mean, just put him far from other colleagues.
Okay, understand. Okay, madam. For the next question, one of your employees committed an offense in the corruption category. What action do you take against the employee?
Okay, in the government agency, I'm not talking about my department, but all department, I believe, corruption is very serious offenses. And for these questions, definitely action must be taken against the employee. Usually, okay, for my department, the first, definitely we have to suspend the employee temporarily from his or her task, which involve the corruptions, and then conduct an investigations to ensure the corruption is confirmed. Because sometimes could be rumors, could be true. And then we also need to apply disciplinary measures if the corruption is proven. Terminations of the employee in accordance with company policy and also labor law. This one definitely we need to refer to the policies and also labor law. And then lastly, take legal actions lah. File a report with law enforcement if the actions are criminal. So maybe we have to report to the police for any bribery, embezzlement, or fraud. Okay, within organization itself, needs to enhance policy for anti-corruptions by implementing strict anti-corruption measures, including whistleblower protections, do regular audits, and conflict of interest policy. Organizations also need to train employees by doing training sessions to educate the employees on ethical conduct, anti-corruption laws, and reporting mechanism. And for your information, it's actually my department having a very good connections with the SPRM. So we usually have a regular annual training for the staff lah regarding the corruptions.
And to the next question, madam, if there is an ethical violation by a colleague under your line of work, what are your actions to overcome it?
Okay, violations in the line of work. First thing is you have to conduct a fair investigations by having a team who are unbiased to review the incident and documented all the findings thoroughly. Then you have to take disciplinary actions by hierarchy. For instance, the first you give them verbal or written warnings. Then reassignment, or if worse, termination is the best actions to be taken. And then must remember here, the actions must be aligned with the company policy and also the labor law. And then lastly, within the organization itself, the first need to enhance ethical awareness by conducting ethic trainings for employees and inculcate cultures about the negativity of ethical violation. The second, establish safe reporting mechanism like whistleblower hotline or anonymous reporting system. And lastly, conduct regular audit to ensure compliance with ethical standards.
Okay. So, for the next question, madam, what does your company produce and the safety action that should be taken in your work?
Okay. Safety is very important matters in every organization.
Mm.
Uh, and as an enforcement officer for OSHE, our department internally certified to ISO 45001:2018 for occupational safety and health management system requirements with guidance for use. By complying to the standard, the department managed to ensure the safety and health of our staff while in the workplace or enforcement at outside workplace. As I mentioned earlier, hazard identification, risk assessment, and risk control has been established to guide the employee to ensure work activities are done in safety manners. As far as no incidents happen, the control measure is adequate to be taken. And our department also provide a periodically training about the safety and health as a knowledge and also as an awareness to the employee.
Okay, thank you, madam. For the last question, what did you do if, as an engineer, any work done by a colleague does not follow occupational safety, health, and environment?
Okay, for this one, first, definitely we have to stop unsafe work immediately. Only resume the work after the safety issues are closed to prevent accident or harm. And need to ensure to isolate the hazard by secure the affected area and equipment to minimize the risk. And then secondly, legal penalty to be taken to the worker who violated the OSHE requirement in accordance with Section 34 in bracket 2, Occupational Safety and Health, Safety and Health Act 1994, which mentioned a person who contravenes the provisions of this section shall be guilty of an offence and shall on conviction be liable to fine not exceeding 2,000 ringgit or to imprisonment for a term not exceeding 3 months or to both. The law itself have a special clause for the person who violate the occupational safety and health and also environment things. So not only employee also need to they have a law who prevent them from doing violations to the OSHE requirement.
Okay, so I think that's all for the question for today, madam. So I hope that this interview will help other people know more about safety and health. And that's all from me. And thank you, madam, for joining this interview to help uh, me to know more about safety and health and to the other people. So thank you, madam. And
Okay, you are
same.
welcome.
Okay, madam, for the first question, what is the practice when you are required to share information for public safety? But how do you balance this ethical commitment with safeguarding client confidentiality?
Okay. In situation requiring the sharing information for public safety, I adhere to legal and ethical guidelines. As a government official, I am bound by the Official Secret Act 1972. So I prioritize transparency while respecting confidentiality lah, by only disclosing information necessary for the protection of public safety and health. And in accordance with the provisions of Occupational Safety and Health Act 1994.
Okay. For the next question, madam, how can you make sure that credentials, duties, and previous experience are genuinely represented without being exaggerated or misrepresented?
To verify that credential, duties, and experience are genuinely represented, I implement a systematic review process that includes the verification of competency certificate, professional license, and employment history through reliable sources. For regular audit and assessment of qualification and performance can help maintain the integrity within the organization. For your information, our department has been certified ISO 45001 2008. This is for management, OSHE management. ISO 90,000 2015 for quality, and ISO 3001 2016. This is for anti-bribery management system.
Yeah, I understand. For the third question, how do you preserve objectivity and transparency when addressing technical issues or delivering expert opinion, regardless of any affiliations or interests that may impact your remarks or arguments?
Mm, I am committed to complying with the international standards such as ISO, that ISO that I earlier, ISO 91 2015 and ISO 2001. Relying on these established guidelines and wishes to form opinions. I only disclose any potential conflict of interest, uh, and ensure my recommendations are based strictly on factual data and best practice in the field, thus maintaining credibility in my expert opinion.
Yeah, for the fourth question, madam, how do you manage the situation in which your professional advice as an engineer is overruled or altered against your opinion, particularly if it may endanger public safety or interests?
If my professional advice is overruled in a manner that could endanger public safety, I would document my concern formally and escalate the issue to higher authorities within my department. It is crucial to prioritize public welfare over personal or organization interests and to advocate for safety as necessary.
Okay. For the fifth question, how do you handle potential conflicts of interest that might affect your judgment of the quality of your services as an engineer?
Okay. I take proactive measures to identify and disclose any potential conflicts of interest that could affect my professional judgment. Actually, I follow the department's established ISO 2001 based procedure for to resolve any conflicts, which may include opting out the decision-making process when a conflict exists in that process.
Okay. And for the sixth question, how do you maintain proper documentation and record keeping when managing your obligation as an engineer on site?
Okay. For this one, I implement a systematic approach to record keeping that includes regular updates, secure storage methods of all the decisions related to safety and health regulation in line with the department procedures. This is to comply with the ISO 45001, ISO 9001, and also ISO 30001 that I spoke earlier.
Okay, and on to the next question. What is your action or react as an engineer if you're facing the criticism from the other colleague or employee?
Okay, this is tricky one. But when faced with the criticism from colleagues or employees, I should actually remain calm and open to discussion, assess the validity of their concern, and respond constructively. If the criticism is warranted, I can acknowledge it and seek opportunities for improvement. If it's unfounded, I clarify my position with factual evidence, aiming to foster a collaborative environment.
Okay, jump on to the next question, madam. How do you ensure that your statement are based on your expertise and knowledge of the subject area when a technical opinion is required publicly?
Okay, when delivered a technical opinion publicly, so I ensure that my statement are grounded with verifiable data, established best practice, and the latest research in my field. I adhere to principle of integrity, making clear distinction between personal opinions and factual information.
Okay, and next is uh, when you become aware of possible violation or relevant rules or regulation within your field of work, how do you respond and manage the situation?
Okay. We have a background at the back. Okay. Can you hear my voice?
I still can hear it.
Okay. Okay. So for that question, upon discovering possible violation, I follow my department reporting procedure based on ISO 45000, ISO 90000, and ISO 30001. My priority is to ensure compliance and rectify any safety risk promptly.
Okay, and for the last question, madam, as a safety engineer, how do you handle the issue or conflict with the people outside your company or from your company itself?
Okay. Conflict may arise from different viewpoint or operational disagreement. So I approach such a conflict with a focus on dialogue and negotiation, seeking to understand others' perspective while advocating for safety standard. If necessary, I involve mediators from my senior or top management to facilitate a resolution.
Okay, so that's all. Just that's some question from me. And thank you, madam, for your kind cooperation to join this interview to help me gain more information about occupational safety and health.